Our enemy begins with a massive explosion happening in Tokyo, Japan. This explosion causes significant damage and destroys many things, creating deep holes in the ground. Many houses are destroyed, but before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification sounds so you get all the latest updates. Then, let's continue. When that happens, our protagonist appears. He's from a family of mushroom guards, wearing a strange and covered outfit, trying to stay anonymous because he doesn't want anyone to recognize him. He's disguised in this outfit, accompanied by a strange and scary-looking animal, and heads to a huge door. At that moment, everyone. After that, it's a desert. To enter through the door, he has to overcome the security guard who's watching it. The guard is a man with a small child. The guard finds a malfunction in the door's opening device. Then, he finds a blocked image on the wall, and the person in the image is wanted by the government. The guard notices he's looking at the image, and realizes it can turn Mount Akagi into a mushroom mountain. But it's known about him that he's evil, to the extent that people say he eats humans. Then, the guard sees his data and realizes the guard knows his name and country, and that he also works as a monk. The guard asks him about his real name because he's sure it's a fake one. Then he finds out he doesn't like his name. And all that, the guard doesn't know that the person talking to him is Bisiko himself, who would rather talk to them. The child knows Bisiko that no one is interested in him going to this area except the monks, so it has become a desert, and everything in it is silent. The guard responds to him saying, "You're definitely stupid. Anyone who wants to escape must first enter this desert. At the same time, we will go to another city and find that this city is spread with silence, poverty, and disease. Then we will go to a casino where there are girls working there." The manager talks about the city's affairs in the same place. There is a doctor who takes part of the place and treats poverty from kindness, because this silence is in the city affected humans and spread within them. It also helps people, because his sister is also affected by it, and we know that his name is Dr. Milo, who is a very skilled and intelligent doctor with a kind heart who helps the poor and is loved by many. Then we see a mysterious person who approaches him. The owner of a stall says to him, "If you hit the ground, you won't get my name," and they realize that it was very difficult for the city to enter him. He also says to him that it might be soon that someone will bring a new type of mushroom. The trader with the stall is selling mushrooms illegally because they are forbidden in the city. At that time, Milo is finished with his work, and the manager knows that he might leave.
The city is poor, so he goes to a place where he can earn more money and says he wants to stay in the city here because his sister loves her. Then he will give her and leave, walking a mile to go buy food from the owner of the kosh and take mushrooms from him because they help him make treatments to help people know that a relative can come to him with a new and very rare type. After that, our Milo returns home. His sister is there, and the one whose name is Bao apologizes to him that he has to do everything himself. Then he starts experiments to be able to find a cure for the throat at the same time, and we return to our hero who was with the guard. He was still with the guard, and the guard was working. He talks about Bisco, who doesn't know that the person in front of him is the one who won't stop talking about him, saying he is very strong and that he can shoot one of his bows and get mushrooms. Then the device is fixed, and the guard asks what all the things he has with him are at that time. Our hero says this is a trick, so we return to Bao and see in the news that Bisco was able to enter the desert. She tells her brother to take care of the time coming, and Milo knows his sister is going to visit him, and he was still working. Then he was buying something, and a child with a strange appearance was watching Milo, taking his food. And at that time, Milo was running after him, and Milo was able to stop him and heal him too. The man who was bitten by the scorpion knew where his clinic was too, because if someone needed him to treat them, then at that time, the mayor would appear, and it would be clear that they liked Bisco. At that time, the mayor would give him the medicine that he had with him to do it, and our man told him that he was still working on the mayor's medicine. The mayor said to him, "Don't waste your time and skills on the poor people and come work with the rich people because you are talented and you can earn a lot of money. Treating your sister will make it clear that this mayor isn't just easy." So they heard a sound of explosions and screams and returned when he was inside the city. And the guard, what are the things he had with him? He said that they were ghosts in the person. He was afraid, and he said, "Don't be quiet. These people died while they were doing a spiritual technique, and they were going to throw their remains into the wind. If he can break the door, we return to the sound of the explosions that happened, and that's because he entered the city and threw bullets. So every bullet he throws, it appears in its place. Mushrooms. The people become afraid and terrified. Then they say to each other that they need to stay away from the place because anyone who gets close to the mushrooms will silence the sound, you know, from the news, and decide to prepare to go fight Bisco. At that time, we know that her job is the guard's commander.
Milo and Bella meet, and she wants to go out. He tries to give her a ride, saying, "Hey girl, you're still tired. It's no use going out now." At that point, she slaps him on the head, and he becomes conscious and decides to try different types of mushrooms to find a new cure. Suddenly, he meets Bisco and asks if he can really find a cure. What's the reason for this meeting? We'll find out when we continue the video. Then we go back to Bisco when he was at the door and the guard doubts he's a priest, starting to ask him to sing a famous song for the priest Bisco. He doesn't know it, and at that moment, the guard's suspicion increases even more. He consults the little boy to help him, so the guard comes out of the door with his gun and puts it to Bisco's head. Bisco shoots the bullet into the mask on his face, and at that moment, his mask falls off and he realizes he's the one they're looking for. Then our hero starts throwing arrows at them. After that, we go back when he mentions going to Milo and asks if he can make a cure or not. They find out that the mushrooms he was trying weren't very effective, so they give him a type of mushroom with him and tell him to use it. Then, Milo gets nervous because he doesn't have a license to make a new type. He refuses to use that mushroom and Bisco says, "What is it? You were already making a type of cure." He is not licensed. Milo will be surprised. Then, Bisco will ask him to treat the guy he's talking about. So then, Bisco becomes a friend. Bisco will know how he got hurt too. Sometime Bisco will say he's not with him. Sometime or he has to think quickly. And what will settle on him? Actually, the doctor that he is working on the drug at the same time. Mysterious people in the lab convincing in the form of armbands and with them weapons. And they could know where Bisco, these people, will be followed by the governor, will be hitting him with fire, and they will know if they finished. Then they will kill the doctor at that time. They will continue to hit. The fire normally Bisco will say to him, "Take the old man to the hospital." And the hospital woke up. Milo didn't agree with what he said. Then he said he didn't care about what he said at all. He threw stones at the building so they would stay away from him, and it reached the headquarters. At that time, he received news that the people following the governor are the ones who sold the guards in the city, and they are the ones responsible for catching Bisco. Then he was very annoyed, so we go back to the time when Bisco was still trying to break the door. He was coming out to him the Riverman cavalry, and they were armed and trying to save him so he wouldn't enter the city. But his strength is great, and he can defeat them all. Then we go back to the present, and the governor is with one of them. The people who were lying down were convinced that the rabbits would grab it and tell her that she failed to get rid of Pisco. And you know, he is a very difficult person.
She thought he was weak, but it turned out to be an extraordinary person who said that they had to kill him before he reached the guards. Let's see. When Pesco was still in the desert, before he reached the city, he was sitting with Jabi talking, and a helicopter in the shape of a spiral came to pick them up, trying to get rid of him. Jabi knew that the type of helicopter wasn't going to be affected by the arrows easily at the same time, and he threw a rocket at Jabi and it hit him. That's why Millie and Pesco met him then. Pesco was obsessed with his owner. The old woman was hit by throwing an arrow at the helicopter, and she was very angry and wanted to destroy it, and it exploded. At that time, Pesco quickly took Jabi to the city. So let's go to Pesco, who was still with Millie, trying to treat Jabi. Pesco realized that he was taking the guards and the guards away from them, and he continued with Jabi. Millie refused and said that he could also see that he was injured and needed to be treated, and it wouldn't be helpful to hit him when he was injured. Then he treated him and realized that if he was hit again or anything happened to him, Pesco would come to him, ask for his name, thank him, and then he would go. Let's go to the hospital where Pesco is going to. Milo quickly sent the guards to the doors, and she was deciding whether to go alone to save her brother at the same time. And that's when we see that Pesco would be able to grab one of the armed convencees. He wouldn't find any trace of the guards. The city would be surprised, and then he would ask her who she's talking to, that she's following the governor. At that moment, she would reach her, and she would start fighting Pesco at the same time. As news had reached the casino city where Milo was going to treat the people, the news had reached that an attack had happened on the clinic where he was, and they were afraid of what he would do. Then we see when Pesco had grabbed one of the armed convencees, she was watching him at that moment and telling him to try to convince him not to kill her, and she knew that the governor was the one who sent her at that time. She would be proud, and she would reach and start fighting each other. Proud, she would be convinced that she would kill him that day. Our man would be surprised. You learn these things how to know yourself. And she's the city guard leader. She says to him, "It's better for you to let go of yourself, and the one who will save you will look at her and laugh." Then they start hitting each other. The two of them would be very strong at that time. Pesco would notice the sound that reached her whole body. He would say to himself, "How can she move?" Her whole body at that moment. And then he would say to her, "Don't move."
A lot of the spread of the disease didn't increase back then because she was obsessed with it and started attacking him with all her strength, saying, "You're making yourself sick, but you're the reason for all the illness spreading in the city. How dare you talk to me?" She knows that the fungus is not the cause of the disease at the same time. Milo brought medicine and health, and he started telling him that he shouldn't have it anymore and that he could live for a month because he was also sick with the disease. Milo asked him who he was and what his connection was. Biscu brought him and told him that his trainer told him that the fungus cleans the sound, not that the fungus is the cause of it. He explained to Milo that he wasn't surprised or anything and didn't say anything. The only thing the disease can interact with is the fungus. So we go back to Biscu, who was angry, telling her the same thing, but she doesn't believe him, saying that his words are illogical. Then they start hitting each other. Biscu then throws the fiery wheel at her, but she manages to block the blow and throws it back with the iron pole. She understands that the fungus is the divine one and gets scared. Almost then, they go to all the places and plant the fungus so they can save people from the disease. Because of the guards and the chasers, they don't know how to do this. Some people might use this in other means, telling her that he avoids eating the disease. That's the same thing that was being told to Gabby. Milo says he's running on a legendary mushroom. This mushroom came from the blood that they had cleaned up. It was from the old heroes, and this type of mushroom is very strong and can heal any human or angel from honesty. So he travels to run on this type of mushroom. So he prefers to stuff his words and doesn't believe him then. He tells her that he came to the city because he heard about Dr. Milo. He asks her if she knows if they will be biased towards him and asks where Milo is actually. So, they see Milo, who is still with Gabby, telling him that this type of child might be in a valley called the Valley of the Child. Gabby is surprised then and shows the pen to Milo. He's scared of him, not more, so he's still with Baja and worries her with his words. He says that he might have done something in Mayo, and with more of his obsession, he can break the iron pole. So he throws an arrow at her then and sings to her and takes her after that. Then Gabby appears to be running from Milo, and they find out that he is a better doctor, and Milo saved him too at that time. Milo arrives and says to him, "How can you laugh at me and also act like you're dying?" So, he thanks him very much for being able to save Gabby. He sees his sister thrown to the ground and covered in the ground. He's very sad and tells him, "You know he was just high back then." Milo would be surprised how can he handle his sister, because she's very strong. Milo then gives her an injection to help her out. He decides to leave the city and travel after getting the best thing. He refuses to travel with him, saying he'd rather stay here. And you know he's still tired. He won't be able to travel. He explains to him that if he reaches the destination, he'll need someone with him to take the medicine. It won't be effective if he's alone. Then, Jabi looks at Milo and understands he's referring to him. He refuses, but Milo plans to go with him. He understands it's dangerous to him, and he might die, especially since he doesn't have any self-defense skills. She says she wants to save her sister, and that her life isn't important, but she can't just focus on her sister and is also willing to help him find a cure. Then, he is moved by her words and agrees to protect her sister, saying he'll save her at any cost. They bid farewell, and then they leave the city, but all the exits are blocked. Then Jabi helps them escape, and they begin their new journey. They start their journey together in search of the antidote, but on the way, Milo keeps talking a lot and observing everything to the extent that he asks him to stop bothering him and also stays quiet for a while afterward. Milo gets tired from too much walking. Pisco gives him something to eat, and then they start talking. Milo says his sister is in front of him, about 3 months, but because of the antifungal injections she's taking, she's been in front of him for about a month, and they need to move faster to be able to find the cure at that time. Pisco realizes that he definitely has a plan for their path, and the first place they will go is the Coal Mountains. Milo says the mountains are inhabited by iron locusts and are terrifying in appearance. How can we overcome them? On Tuesday, Pisco sees something buried and realizes it's the scorpion he has, which is in the shape of a spider. It's huge and burrows itself because of the heat. Our hero calls it and realizes Milo is going with them and that he's also very strong. Then Milo sees it and becomes very relieved, but suddenly finds himself thrown to the ground. He tries to get up again, but the scorpion keeps throwing him back to the ground. He prefers to try more than once, but it's useless. The next day, Milo is still trying to train how to ride it, but he fails many times. Then a girl comes and says she'll teach him, but the girl tries to steal the scorpion. Suddenly he hears Milo scream, "No! Don't throw an arrow at her!" He throws it. She runs away, and then they continue. Their path at night would become tiring, and they would decide to go to a place to sleep. They saw a temple then, and when they entered, they met a girl inside. They saw her and her beauty was good, and they realized it was the same girl who had been trying to steal the lizard from them. Then they saw her tiring and arguing, wanting something to help her, and they decided to stay together. The girl was trying to make them buy food from her, but Biscuit said to her after saving us as he wanted us to pay then. The girl left and kept moving away from them, throwing a type of fuel on the ground, and she no longer needed her. They went to sleep, and suddenly a large beast attacked, revealing that the place they were in was actually an animal weapon. They tried to fight it, then they ran away and found out that when he threw that fuel, he was scared of the beast. At that time, he asked Milo for help, and he was tearing his mind. And with the help of the crocodile, he said he could do it and really encouraged him. Milo and the crocodile are tasty, and they can beat his mind, and he can get rid of him and kill him later. They go to another place and they sleep there. The next morning, our man wakes up to Milo's scream, who says the girls stole the money and left some food for them. Our man says, "You're the one who's the problem. And it's okay, we were sharing the money." Then they continue on their way, and they find out what their emergency is, and they stay owners too, and they feel they're very guilty, and they're able to follow them in their tracks, and notice that there's a child running on the ground. He runs after her, but there's a boy who has already taken her. The child runs and follows him, and he follows her. Our man can catch the child, and then another 2 children appear. They're armed, and they shoot at him. I wonder what will happen to them at that time. Let's wait and see. And they'll be heading to an area that looks deserted, and her motorcycle is also broken. So we'll go back to the second pair when they come out with children holding weapons, wanting to finish them off. If they don't obey their owner, he asks them for food, but they refuse. Then they realize that he's the wanted criminal, and that if they catch her, they can eat. They take the reward announced by the government at that time, and they take it to their area to free him. While they're walking, and they see 2 people in a building, there's a giant creature that's about to finish them off. He decides to help them, and they thank him, and they ask her to come to their house so they can help fix her motorcycle. Then we see a little girl helping Milo give him food, and he realizes that everyone is children who talk to him about their village and what happened to them. She tells him that she was about to help and give him food because he looks tired. Then we see Milo's sister, who's at home with the 2 of them who are weapons. They helped her tell them that everyone in their city had died because of the morning shepherd, and that they were hoping for the morning porridge to protect them from the truth.
But then they found out that everyone who took those injections were affected by the truth, and all the residents of the area died. And there was no one left in the city but them. So they would see then and quickly eat after the children put food in front of them. The children would still be hungry, and then they would start talking to one of them, who would find out that he didn't get crushed by the porridge because there was a small one who saved him, and he himself was meeting one of them and giving him a map which he could use. At that time, Milo was helping the children and could heal them by telling them that what they had wasn't the truth and that this was just their skin peeling off, giving them medicine to help them. The children said to him, "What's the equivalent?" At that time, he asked them to leave and quickly eat. Then he met a monster in the shape of a fish that started attacking them all. They were scared because they didn't have enough weapons, and all the weapons they had were old. One of the fish took one of them, and at that time, he freed himself and helped the little child, and he could save all the fish. Everyone was amazed at his strength and courage, and praised and cheered. Our 2 companions then continued the journey and returned to Bau, and she was walking in the place and entered a completely empty area. Bones recognized that those 2 are dogs, and they were putting poison in the tea. When they found out they had been discovered, they tried to get rid of it, but couldn't. Then they decided to blow themselves up. After that, they would see the mayor when he could discover that one of the convinced rabbits was disguised, who was the old woman who brought it. At that time, she wasn't really in the mood for good. Then they would be walking in an ice-covered environment. At that time, they wouldn't be able to, and they would gather together to see an ice rabbit and try to hunt it. Then they would throw an arrow at it, but it wouldn't hit. Then they would say to him that he didn't know how to hold it, and say to him, "Son, you're doing the installations, not more." Then the rabbit would grab it and see that there was a person frozen. Then they would meet the girl who laughed at them before and took the money from Milo to help them then. Milo would say to her if they were delayed by 10 minutes, they would die. Then he would ask her how she was able to reach them before. She said to them that she saw an airplane and was able to fix it. But while she was walking, they were able to hit her airplane. And her airplane had also fallen on her at that time. Then Milo would say that they had some food with them, and she would want to pay for it. Milo wouldn't let her pay anything, and they would take her with them. The girl would insist on the word, to the point that the snake was exhausted from them. and would throw at them. Then they would reach the village and would...
The villagers asked them for food and money, saying they didn't have anything with them at that time. The village leader asked them to take the eels from Bisiko in return, but Bisiko refused and stepped in. At that moment, the girl could convince the village leader and also gave them clothes for the man to wear, which helped them. Our two companions were surprised at how she convinced them. Then, they continued on their way and went to a station called Kutso. They found the entrance frozen solid, so they asked the eels to break the ice so they could enter. They found mushrooms in the shape of light, and the Qatar cars were also broken. The girl decided to help them and was able to fix the Qatar. Then Milo thanked her and learned her name and also asked Bisiko for her name. She gave thanks for her help and that she had finally become their owner. The girl was affected by their words, and then they bid farewell and continued on their way to find the mushrooms. On the way, a large number of oil sardines suddenly appeared. Bisiko asked him to shoot an arrow at the sardines coming towards them. Milo knew he didn't know how to use the bow at all. Our companion encouraged him and said he could do it. Then he spread out. The girl then warned Milo not to smell the acid. Suddenly, their leader appeared. He pulls Bisiko and Milo and asks the turtle to take the engine and throws it at the octopus. Milo was trying to throw the arrow at the monsters, and Bisiko comes and realizes that to throw the arrow, there are two conditions. The first is to focus on the target, and the second is to ensure yourself that you can defeat the octopus. Then they come out of the tunnel and they reach the Valley of the Child and also see the blue mushroom that they came for. Bisiko says to him, "Breakfast is ready." They have been here for 15 years and they were harvesting a type of mushroom that can eat the sound. Suddenly, they see a bird and a snake-like creature appears and then swallows the bird. At that time, Milo asks what that is. Anyway, our guy knows that this is the horned snake, and it attacks the second side of the man and realizes that it has to defeat it from both sides and throws arrows at it, but they don't affect it at all at that moment. It has reached the place where they were, and they were coming very quickly, and they were angry because they wanted to get rid of Bisiko. Bisiko says to him, "Come back, your brother is better," and he agrees that Milo is the one who comes with him. "All this is to save you. Then you will fight with him." But the eagle comes and takes him. Milo jumps on the turtle quickly and goes to the eagle and can hit Bisiko with the turtle's claw. Bisiko then realizes that Milo is coming down quickly because if the eagle, it flew away more than expected, he won't know how to land. And now that he's landed, the fangs will grip the lizard. It will bite and leave. So she quickly gets on her motorcycle and drives away. The doctor is surprised because he injected the fangs with morning drug and there's no effect on it at all. Then he decides he won't give up, and at that moment, he bites the fangs with a fang arrow that consumes the Tuesday, and all this while she is on them. She names it Milo, our Tuesday. They can overcome it and benefit from the fang arrows, and also die and come out to see that she is afraid of Milo, and she prepares to tell him why. "You did this." At that moment, she notices the fang they want on the back of the fang. Milo spreads out and says they finally found the cure and they can also treat her sister. He realizes he feels something wrong and tries to eat one at a time to know that each fang he has power. If he eats the friendship, but the type of fang they are targeting is stronger and can also heal the friendship powerfully from any other fang. At that time, Milo gets annoyed and asks if they are tired of the fang. His friend says they have to finish the rotation and there's still time, but Milo doesn't agree because he sees he's bleeding and needs to be treated. So she says no one can fight now. She says to them, "You are tired and you need to rest." Bisco knows they are tired and can rest, but he continues alone. Then Milo holds him and fights with him too. They know if they go out now, he won't be able to, and Milo will notice something strange, and Bisco's blood reacts with the fungus. Then Milo asks about his blood type, but Bisco doesn't know. So he assumes the type of fungus he found on his trumpet's foot is a type of fungus that doesn't react unless his blood touches it. The fungus decides to take his blood and tries it on him. He finds that his blood can help in treating the ear infection. Then he decides to keep on them and talks to himself, saying that it might actually be a miracle in this Munseby terrorists, and they just try to save the world. And all that. And our guardian is evil at this time. Paul comes out to fix her motorcycle. Then she reaches the Guardian and becomes a passenger in the plane. He talks to them that she finally found the rare medicine. Bisco throws darts at him, but they start hitting them with fire. Their strength is very great. Then the Guardian can hit Bisco with a shot and takes his trumpet. The next day, Milo gives him 2 injections, but decides to take one only and says she doesn't need anything for herself because the Guardian won't suspect anything. She takes one to give to the guard. She knows she will return to the base where the guards are talking to Biscuit and saying that he is worried about his sister and is upset, and walks off right when she returns. Then at the base, she finds the guards hitting her with fire and decides to dodge the shots and finds the governor near her telling her she's on the verge of leaving and saying to him he's where the guards know. At that time, he says to her that whenever we talk, we'll see something new. Then she finds the old woman bringing him and he's dazed, and then she sees Milo who's trying to hunt an animal to make food, but he enters into it and doesn't find it. At that time, he's outside and Milo gets upset because he's tired and can't move, and they realize she's going with the turtle to eat him. She returns quickly at that time. Milo was baking and watching the news that the governor is announcing the criminals, who are Biscuit and Milo, who says to them to see the video. And then she realizes Milo's fear of returning. Then, Biscuit Anme puts the food and doesn't stay there for a while sleeping. Biscuit feels something strange in Milo's doctor. Then Biscuit tells him that the governor did something in the base that he understands, that there's really something that's not going to the base. Milo can't let Biscuit go and says that he was injured and his condition is worse than his sister's, and even brought an injured one, and realizes Milo that he's then one of his closest friends and he wants to have something too, and he will respond to him saying that people need him more than me. You will help many people, but I'm not important. They will fight with each other and hit each other too. Milo, our owner, will inject him with a sleeping drug and take him to the bed, and he will break out to save his sister, and I wonder if she can do it alone or what. So let's go to the governor, who is in his office. Milo will enter the place and think about what he saw on the news, that he was also torturing his sister, and with the old woman, he brought it back then. He can't bear anything. Milo sees his sister being tortured and threatens that he will save him if he doesn't know the secret of the drug he ate. He gets very annoyed and wants to take revenge on his sister and prefers it. The governor hits and tortures her, so we go back to the flashback. 5 minutes exactly. That is an hour. But Milo has reached the governor, holding the bow in his hand and threatening the governor, asking for the drug. Then the governor gives him the drug. Milo understands that the drug he ate will be in a drowsy state when he is alone. He needs to mix it with another component so that it reacts with it. Milo starts holding things together and can control the mushrooms. A gas will pierce from the mushrooms, then it will be a drug. The governor will pass the guards. If they want to save him, they can't because they smell the drug. Then the governor starts fighting with Milo. He can stab him with the knife more than once. You know he's the only one who can treat him, but he needs to know where his sister is, and also tells him about where he got the drug back then. The governor will shoot a bullet at Milo, and you know he mixed the bullet with the drug, and also lives himself with anesthetic mushrooms, and you know Milo that he was the guardian of his mushroom herds. At the same time, he tells Milo if he puts the governor's poison on him, he understands that he put something that can control him, and that's the type of mushroom he mixed with the bullet, and he knows he has a piece that can make him control it, and he says to him that he's not interested in the side effects of eating the drug, but he wants to respect and control the drug from the outside. At that time, it won't work. The drug ends because the economy is standing, because the echo is continuous. And above that, every doctor can make a lot of money, and that's important to him. At that time, Milo is not very happy to tell the governor that everything he wants is power. And if the injection that treats the echo falls into his hands, he will have power, and more power than being a governor. He asks how to do the properties of eating the drug. Milo doesn't give him anything that he understands. The governor realizes that if he tells him to take the one he reserved, the governor said he needs to know what will save you. At this moment, he reaches Biscu, so let's see what he brought. And he asks the guard in the dungeon to give him something to eat. And then, the fungus is used, and it can come out. We go back when it is skunked, and it knows from the governor that he is the reason why people hate the fungus, and that he was the cause of rumors that the fungus is a terrorist who attacks him. And at that time, the governor can control Milo by hitting him with a dart. And he understands that these darts contain a sound and are also poisonous. Then Milo will be crying and asking the governor to stop. The governor says to him that the last dart can save him if he didn't say anything about eating the sound. He would be crying for Milo so that he wouldn't say anything to him. He decides that he knows the secret, but his owner doesn't die and says to him that the blood, the owner of the fungus, if it is mixed with the fungus, it will be the cure. Then the governor will know that he was telling him the secret, and he knows that it is impossible to get them out of here alive. At that time, he was going to shoot a dart at him, and he could shoot it at the governor. He came in one eye and one control device, and also other darts made mushrooms in the place.
He came out and took Milo to the owner and asked Jabi to see if they knew that he had already saved her. Then they came out of the place, and people holding the governor's weapons appeared. But Jabi said to Milo to take it and go, and he was dealing with them. Milo was holding it and running with it before the men of the conservative family could hold them.
They could throw stones at them, and the dog would get many wounds. Then the snake would appear and could hit the dog with its teeth on the mountain, and also could get away from the guards. Although the dog was full of wounds, it was still thinking of its owner, who said to him, "Don't die." Then the dog was affected by his words. After that, the dog appeared and was walking in a place full of plants and saw his sister sitting with the dog, and they became comfortable and ran to them. Then he saw them disappearing, and he woke up and his eyes were tired, and he couldn't see anything. We noticed that the sound began to spread in the dog's body. The dog asked Milo about the field opposite. The dog said to him that he could steal medicine from the conservative's house. Then Milo said to him that the injection he had with him was taking it because he was sure he was injured. The dog knew that he had taken it and that the injection was for him, and they were sad with it and said that he would be fine soon after. They preferred to talk to each other and talked about his sister. He asked what you think of your sister and asked him if he liked to go out with her too. Milo's shape was damn. The dog was annoyed by the question. Milo said to him, "It's possible that she likes you better." He preferred to talk to him about someone else because their personalities were almost the same. Then he asked him what he would do with the conservative. The dog knew from the dog that he would definitely have to kill him. He says he wants to help him and be with him, and also that he can trust him. But if he leads, he'll be stronger because he can protect him, and also demands that he not leave the next day. Then we'll see Cisco and get the squids, and it'll be a disaster. We'll see many cars from his special forces. The governor asks why all these cars. He sees Jabi under his control, and the governor enters that place, sweeping away the shepherd's flock. The number of those injured by the sound decreases, which reduces the balance between supply and demand. So they want to increase the number of people injured by the sound. Then the governor, while heeding the sound, realizes that Jabi is the one creating the sound waves. The sound waves spread faster, and those who get injured by it know that eating the sound requires shepherd's blood. So he asks for some of the shepherd's flock. Because he's the leader, it'll be easier then. The old man, Jabi, refuses and hits the governor. The governor would have hit him back, but someone from the believers hits him. We then discover that this is a trick. Jabi holds the governor and throws him far away. He then asks Jabi to walk with him, and then he starts fighting with him. Monsters appear to help the governor in the fight to save our hero, Jabi. When he comes out, he finds a gorilla trying to kill him, but then it appears and stops. At that moment, Biscu beats the monsters, and the governor can shoot a bullet in Biscu's eye. Then a huge monster comes, and the governor says to him, "Save our owner." The monster is very strong, to the extent that he can fly Biscu from his place, cutting his legs too. Our owner says to him, "It doesn't make sense that I can't use my bow. Then I can't defeat him." So he starts hitting him. The governor takes out his pistol and still hits him with fire. And he continues and throws arrows at him. And he flies his hand and takes the governor and throws him into the crowd. Then Milo yells and is unbelievable and shocked. Biscu realizes that they will be better partners and owners. He also asks him. He hits him with an arrow and takes his life because he can't bear it. Then Milo fulfills his request and Biscu dies at that time. He, Grings, and Bao are with huge monsters. But then an explosion occurs in the building, and the sound is very loud. Bao can use its power to pick up that monster and throw it on another monster and get rid of them both. Then all the people in the building come out and run, scared. Then Bao enters the building, circles Biscu, and shouts at him. Milo shouts at her and comes out with them. Bao is standing outside, wanting them, but he sees Milo and Bao, and he is relieved that he is okay. Then Biscu's friend asks where he is. Milo never knew what to say when he felt it in his heart, and he would say to him, this is the time when he understands that Bisco is dead, and he's very sad and doesn't say anything. The building collapses, and Milo and Bao talk about Bisco, and that he might still be okay. He says he's missing, and then a huge explosion happens, with a lot of smoke filling the place. Everyone is surprised and doesn't know what's happening until a giant figure in human form appears. Then Jabi says it's Tetsuo-jin, and that he's the guardian, but he's manifested as a monster. They realize they haven't specifically targeted him or his sound yet. And then the monster throws fire and smoke at them, filled with sound. With his strength, nothing can affect him as he spreads the sound everywhere. Everyone tries to escape from him. So Milo decides to face him. But Bao tries to stop him, recognizing that this isn't like any other monster. Milo tells them that he's the only one who's absorbed all the sound, and reassures his sister that she'll be okay and won't die if he goes alone at this time. We see the girl they saved earlier, who was thinking about them and asking herself, what are they doing now? She meets city guards and then arrives by helicopter, which was following the mayor. They learn from her that the mayor is dead, and he and Bausko decided to go after.
After that, Milo talked to the beast and said, if you think you can get rid of him easily, then you're stupid because he has to get rid of him and return him to hell. They started fighting with each other, and Milo would get skills to be able to fly and throw arrows at him. And also the villagers who were in the ice decided that they would kill, but they weren't strong enough. Then, Jabi and the salamander appeared and said to Milo, and he started touching the mushrooms with his hands. They couldn't get rid of him. Even after all that, he started making strange noises, and then fire came out, which caused a powerful explosion, until it hit Milo and Jabi from above the mountain. And then they saw that she was riding with the Arab car and said to her, it won't be useful to be faster than that. Then she gave her a book about Tetsuo Sujin she had found before. Then she talked and said to her that she wasn't sure that she was her friend. Her brother knew her, that her brother saved her twice before. Then we went back. When Jabi and Milo and the salamander fell from the mountain, they came out alive. But Jabi was injured, and Milo helped him. At that time, Jabi was talking to Milo that he considered the talk about the atomic explosion and the destruction of the world just fantasies. But these fantasies later came true. People back then were searching for the devil and designed an immense power that could not only make metals ring, but also had a much greater strength that could reach humans, animals, and plants. Then he decided to leave Jabi with the villagers in the ice because he was injured, and he would go alone too. We would see Milo's reactions, and he would say that Pisco didn't die and that he purified Milo's soul. Milo would be tired and blood would be coming out from everywhere. He would tell the serpent that he was fine, and he was taking injections for the fever. Oh my God. So the savage governor was going to protect the city where he was. The children decided that they would escape and save their lives. They would rather run and see him destroy their village. At that time, one of them said to them, escape, he's trying to hit me. But of course his strength would be very great, and he was still a small child at that time. He would reach Milo, and they would realize that he was still alive. He would say to him, although he was with money and power, she couldn't save him. But now he's here to save him. They would rather hit each other, the two of them. Milo would say to the child, go and take your friends and keep fighting with him. Then Jabi would arrive with Ocha, and Bao would also be with them at that time. The city guards would arrive, and the news would spread everywhere. Jabi, you will notice that Milo has a red injection with him. Then he will know that this is a type of mushroom poison. His body cannot handle this type of poison. If he injects himself with it, the Guardian can enter the city, and he will learn about the emergency in the entire city. He will start destroying everything and bringing people. Milo can reach him and threaten that he has to leave the people and focus on him at that time. All the people in the city who are watching the news will be able to see Milo and stab him many times. He will think that they have finally gotten rid of him, but he will still be alive and able to get away from Milo and throw him far away from the wall of the door. So it happens. Something strange that no one expected. He really appeared and said to Milo that he came to help him and that he heard a voice from the other world calling him. Then he extended his hand to him to fight the Guardian together. He brought and opened, but they couldn't believe their eyes that they were really seeing him and that he had actually come back from the dead. Pardon God Almighty. That's when they decided, the two of them, to go and deal with that beast. We noticed that Bisku is much bigger than him, and his hand is also strange with a strange light. Then he realizes that he is indeed a legendary creature. Milo knows that Bisku knows that his body is currently half human and half eaten. The voice of our owner says to him, it's not important this talk right now. Let's see this monster first and deal with the most important thing afterward. Bisku will strike it with an arrow, but quickly, Okra will come along with a book titled Tetsujin 28. It will reach that. It's already close to exploding by itself, and if an arrow strikes it, it will cause a big explosion like the one that happened in Tokyo. Bisco notices that the monster has already started to emit fire, and the voice warns. At that moment, Bisco can throw arrows made of mushrooms from all sides to lure the mushrooms to eat the voice. They ask Achi what to do with it then, and they find out that the explosion device is in its head and its outer shell, designed to control the link between it and the operator, and also if it strikes the head and fights the leader, it won't destroy itself alone.
Then Bisco says that it will strike it on the head with the arrow. Milo says to him, "Wait, we don't know where the reserve will be exactly to deal with it." Bisco says to him, "This area right now will break if we stay silent at this time." Bao comes and says to them that they need to break this iron mask because they might reach something. They decide to do it themselves. Okra says to them that she tried to help them and that she needs to leave now. Milo thanks her for her help. Let her tell him that she was just repaying the debt when she saved him, and also, because they remained owners, she had to come and help them at a time like this. Then the shadow turns red from the eclipse because she is saying this for the first time, and then she walks away. And you can reach the mask of the beast and cut it with the sword at this time. Oh teacher, the shadow of the guardian appears, and they start throwing arrows at him from everywhere.
The guardian can then hit the eye, but it hurts. Emil holds the quiver with him and tells him in 2 positions for the first shot. First, you will see well. Second, you must have faith. Then, he says to him, trust him and pull the bowstring very well. Then, he says to him, he throws the arrow and indeed throws the arrow, and it comes out with a lot of mushrooms, to the extent that the mushrooms grow on the guardian's body and disappear literally inside the mushrooms and choose the one in the city, B. And then, they also disappear from the signs of the sound that were in her body until Jabi becomes the same thing. Biscu and Milo then become seated talking to each other and relieved that they could defeat the beast and also save themselves from the guardian. Milo, they know they have to be with him all the time and he won't leave the next time. Then Milo opens his clinic and can treat all the people who were injured by the sound. Everyone becomes relieved that they were scared and could save themselves from that sound. After Kedo, Biscu and Milo stay outside the doors, while Labin convince Asham to meet the same guard and the little child. At that time, we'll see the news that Ba becomes the city's mayor. Then, he notices posters with their photos. Milo asks what that is. They say it's the panda that eats humans, the one that treats patients and eats the guard who can't recognize them. Then Biscu asks him, and they laugh at him and walk. Biscu then decides to find a solution for his problem with his body and find a cure for eating sounds. Milo decides to go with him, and they start their journey together. And that's where our anime ends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications so you get every new update. And also, write your opinion in the comments. Goodbye.